So is it 21 years last April? Made it. It's 8:41 now. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. It's time. Check in and find out what's going on with your money on Wall Street this morning. And the disclaimer indicates my dear friend Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services is on the line with us today. Phillip, welcome back. Glad to have you this morning.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Glad to be back. It is interesting to see all the different things we've got going on, and thunderstorms is among one of them that we've been fighting here lately.
Oh, lordy, lordy. Yeah, I never thought I'd complain about the rain after the dry season that we had, but I had 1.5 inches in my front yard yesterday and was telling the story on the air that my cat insisted upon going out at 5 and didn't want to come in when I left in the morning. About 10 minutes after I left the house, the clouds opened up, and if you want to meet a drowned rat that was real unhappy on the back porch, when I came home after I got off the air, that was my cat. So supposed to be decent for the weekend, though, so I'll take that happily. Yesterday, we had kind of an interesting day. I started out kind of negative. I mean, we were looking pretty red on the futures when I talked about it yesterday morning, but we ended up climbing up to a positive day. The Dow ended up 35.5. Standard & Poor's up by 24. NASDAQ was up by 129 at the end of the day, and all that in the face of a whole lot of warring tweets between President Trump and China, President Trump and the European community, talking about how we're going to really whack these people, how we're cheating with China and China's cheating with us. I figured it was going to be a crummy day. I think we're starting to get conditioned to the tweet war. What do you think?
Well, that could be. I will tell you, Dave, I was watching the numbers, and they were drifting. They're red. They stayed red. They didn't actually pop green until after lunch, mid to late afternoon. So yeah, I'm not sure what people really thought about or were liking about the numbers, but obviously they're less and less is people are listening to Trump right now. At least it seems that way.
Yeah, and it's probably finally internalization of the fact that a whole lot of what he's saying is for consumption of the people that he's negotiating with, and not necessarily to upset us. I mean, you got to assume, given his heritage as a deal maker, that threatening to walk away on the spot is just part of the strategy. It may be inconvenient in international relations, but quite frankly, given the amount of income we seem to be getting in out of the tariffs, and given the fact that we're back up in the nosebleed level on the indexes, it may be disconcerting, but it seems to be working to one extent or another, doesn't it?
It does, Dave. It is. Now, if they take that extra money and apply it to the deficit, I'll be happy. Let's start working on reducing our interest expense and paying down some of our debt. But yeah, it does seem to be working, and it does bring people to the table to discuss the trade imbalances. We've been pussyfooting around for this for a long time, and so now we are in the process of trying to right that ship, and so that we're all on an equal playing field.
Absolutely. And this week, we're at the end of earnings season, but there's still a bunch of junk going on the macro front to talk about. Among others, the promise that a little later on this week, after all of the tweet wars going back and forth between China and the U.S. over the weekend, well, they're saying that President Xi and President Trump are supposed to be sitting down and, quote unquote, according to a Treasury Secretary Besant the other day, that it could happen likely this week, having an actual CEO to CEO conversation between the two. That's got to get a lot of traders on edge, looking to see whether they can get ahead of an up curve or a down curve, depending upon what happens.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and who knows what's going to come out of that meeting. Hopefully it'll be good news, and that will continue to give us some relief on the marketing side.
Absolutely. A whole lot of stuff going to be happening because it's employment week this week on the government data dump front. looking for some of the reports, and you said a lot of them have been delayed until like 10:30 this morning, but we start getting it with the JOLTS report a little bit later on. The job openings, we'll get factory orders a little later on this morning, durable goods orders coming out a little bit later on. It's going to be busy even before we get the ADP and stuff starting tomorrow and all of the numbers for employment. We've got a pretty busy week from a macro standpoint, don't we?
We do, Dave, because, you got the unemployment numbers coming out on Friday this week. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we do have some numbers, and let's look back because, one of the numbers that came out yesterday that is maybe a little concerning, and that's construction spending for the month of April.
Mm-hmm.
Better than what it was in March, but not near what they expected. It was down 0.4%. And the expectation from economists was it to be up 0.2%. So kind of off there by about 0.6.
Absolutely. The other number that came out yesterday was the ISM Manufacturing Import Index, which, kind of like usual, is one of those reports that you and I tend to gloss over because it doesn't mean a lot in the grand scope of things unless we're touchy about other things. Our U.S. imports hit the lowest level since the financial crisis of '09 this past month, down fell like an absolute rock, down by about 20% this past month. So we're definitely slowing the economy down a little bit. Now, if our imports go down and our domestic manufacturing purchases go up, we can say, hey, happy days are here again. But right now, the immediate impact is we're saying, whoa, with all the potential tariffs, we just ain't buying as much from overseas as we were.
Yeah, I think everybody's finally slowing down a little bit because just the economy as a whole has put a damper on things. As prices continue to go up, there's only so much room that the consumer has to continue to purchase.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got tightening economy from the consumer standpoint and also reasons to buy elsewhere when you look at the tariff potential down the line. We do have some reports, though, and a couple of them are more than household names around here. I gather Dollar General reported. How did our 27 Dollar General stores do last quarter?
So Dollar General had a really good quarter. They beat by 30 cents a share, came in at $1.78. Revenue was more than expected, and here's going to be the kicker, Dave. They actually
Mm-hmm.
lifted their annual sales outlook for this year, updated the guidance and things like that. So that was some good news for Dollar General. They're actually trading up a little over 9% this morning.
Cool, good news. Now they need to build another 25 or 30 stores around here. I am surprised by that guidance. I mean, a lot of the stuff we buy there, a lot of it is retail surplus, but a whole lot of it is stuff manufactured overseas. They think they're going to be able to get around that, huh?
Well, I'm assuming that they're making some assumptions that current tariff rates will remain, basically kind of where they are through mid-August of this year.
That probably is relatively safe the way we're playing the game at the moment.
Yeah.
We know we'll back off and go on and threaten and back off for a while. What else have we got?
Don't really have any other earnings day, but I got some interesting little tidbits here. Constellation Energy has signed a deal with Meta, a 20-year agreement to buy nuclear power from Constellation Energy. That's got them trading up a little over 10% this morning.
I got to assume that has something to do with all the server farms they're putting in for their artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely it. And then the last little tidbit I found interesting was we talk about them every now and then. Hims and Hers Health.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to acquire their European counterpart called Zavia. And so that's the stockholders are liking that. They're up 6% this morning.
Cool. But the only tidbit I had to throw into the batch was kind of bouncing off of a personal experience here. My son-in-law's cell phone was off for about 2 solid weeks after his cell phone company up in Wisconsin got hacked by a cyber attack. They won't say from where, which always implies overseas. Now this morning, Victoria's Secret is saying their website got a cyber attack as well. They're going after overpriced underwear now as well. Is nothing safe in the world?
Hey, let's talk a little bit about one other thing that's skyrocketing today.
Yeah.
Silver.
Yes.
Silver has hit some new highs for today, and so it is moving in the upward direction. Now, the highest, at least the highest I can in this article anyway, that we've seen silver was back in 2011. It hit 48.35 an ounce. Well, we're on our way. I mean, right now we're hitting it over 34. Let's see if I hit the right button here. It'll tell me where we're at. So right now we're at 34.58. So definitely hitting some highs. Now this article I'm reading states that we've broken out of what they call a triangle pattern for technical people, and so the expectation is that silver may continue to move higher, and because people need it, industrial growth, manufacturing, they need silver.
Hmm.
And there's been a persistent supply deficit over the last, 3 or 4 years. And we continue to be having some issues there. So there's just demand across the board for silver, and
Wow.
we'll have to watch it continue to rise. It'll be
As you
volatile, but it'll
mhm.
rise.
As you were saying that, I was trying to remember. It wasn't 11 the year that the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market and the price went through the roof?
I can't remember if that was 2011 or if that was back. I think that was back really way earlier, Dave, like in the
Okay.
90s.
Okay. I remember it happening. I just can't remember when. And I was looking at 48 and saying, if that was an artificially high peak, even the $34, $35 numbers that we're looking at right now are astronomical, aren't they?
They are, and because of manufacturing, I think we'll see them continue to move up. Now they'll be volatile, but move up anyway.
Oh, I hear. Resetting the table, it was a modest up day yesterday in Wall Street after a pretty negative during the day. We ended up trading it out right at the end of the session to green ink. 45 minutes before we open this morning, what are we looking at?
We got just a little bit of red ink, Dave. The Dow is down not quite 0.2%. The S&P 500 is down a little over 0.1%, and the Nasdaq 100 is down a little less than a tenth of a percent. So we've got some red ink to start out the day. Even on the other side, silver, gold, both down. Silver down a third of a percent. Like I said, $34.58 an ounce. Gold's down a little over 0.4%, $3,382 an ounce. Crude oil is heading up 1.15% right now, $63.28 a barrel.
I'm reading that couple of dollar increase is based upon the Ukrainian attack on Russia and an upset in the overseas markets. It's supposed to be temporal, but I kind of like to get it back down around that $61 range, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir, definitely would.
You'll take it happily. Overseas markets, the story that maybe Trump and Xi would be talking got the Asian Rim markets pretty happy. Everything was in green ink. The mainland Chinese markets were up almost 0.5% at the close. Over in Europe, because we were throwing rocks back and forth with Europe yesterday morning, we're generally on a red tinge. The two major European overall indexes almost canceling each other out. One's down, the other's up. Call it flat halfway through the European trading day. Getting a beat on what to do for retirement in a day of press releases driving money is just more than the average person should be able to bear. How do I get a hold of you to get a hold of the risk in my retirement portfolio and make it something I can plan on?
David, you can give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule their core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning about the same time to find out what's happening on the money front then. You have a good day, my friend. I'll see you then.
All right, buddy. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye now.